Wisdom seekers, imagine this. You're in a bustling room filled with laughter, chatter, and the hum of endless conversation. Yet, as you stand there, something feels off. It's not anger, it's not sadness, it's a quiet yearning, a pull toward something deeper, something more real. You feel out of place, not because you don't belong, but because the noise around you seems so far removed from what truly matters. Have you ever wondered why? Why does the company of others sometimes drain you rather than inspire you? Why does solitude feel like a sanctuary, while socializing can feel like a battlefield? It's not because there's something wrong with you. In fact, the answer might lie in something ancient, something timeless. A truth that philosophers have been whispering for centuries. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic thinker, once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Perhaps you sense that the chaos of others is threatening the clarity of your inner world. Perhaps you're searching for meaning in a society that thrives on distraction. And perhaps, deep down, you know that solitude is where your soul finds its truest expression. Today, we're going to explore 8 profound reasons why you might not like being around people. These aren't just surface-level observations. They are rooted in the wisdom of the ages, woven into the fabric of philosophy, and shaped by the human condition itself. This journey isn't about finding fault with others. It's about uncovering the deeper truths within yourself. Stay with me, because what we're about to explore might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Every like, subscribe helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. Ready to unlock more wisdom? Let's dive in. Reason 1. You crave authenticity in a world of masks. In a world where performance often overshadows substance, it's no wonder you might find yourself longing for authenticity. When every interaction feels like a stage play, complete with rehearsed lines and carefully chosen costumes, the yearning for something real becomes almost unbearable. You crave the raw, unfiltered truth, the kind of connection that doesn't require pretense. But the unfortunate reality is, the world seldom operates that way. From the time we're young, society teaches us to wear masks. At school, we're taught to behave a certain way to fit in. In the workplace, we're encouraged to play the game, to climb the ladder. Even in friendships and relationships, people often put on facades, afraid to reveal their true selves. It's not malice, it's fear. Fear of rejection, judgment, and vulnerability. But for someone who values authenticity, these masks are suffocating. The Stoics spoke at length about this tension. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." He understood that society often pressures us into conformity, into playing roles that don't align with our true selves. If you're someone who resists this, who seeks depth over superficiality, it's no wonder you find it difficult to be around people who seem content with shallow performances. Consider this. Every conversation, every interaction is an exchange of energy. When that exchange feels disingenuous, it leaves you drained. It's not that you dislike people, it's that you dislike the artifice that so often accompanies them. You yearn for conversations that spark meaning, for relationships that challenge you to grow, for interactions that leave you feeling invigorated rather than exhausted. But the world is not designed for depth. In an age of social media and curated personas, people are more focused on projecting an image than sharing their truth. This isn't to say that authenticity doesn't exist. It does, but it's rare. And because it's rare, you value it even more. Epictetus, another great Stoic philosopher, once advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Perhaps this is why you shy away from superficial interactions. You're not interested in explaining yourself or conforming to others' expectations. Instead, you seek to live authentically, to align your actions with your values, and to surround yourself with people who do the same. Yet, this pursuit of authenticity often feels isolating. You might wonder if you're being too harsh, too judgmental, or even too idealistic. But consider this. It's not wrong to seek quality over quantity in your relationships. It's not wrong to protect your energy and guard your peace. Authenticity is a rare gem, and those who value it are often willing to walk alone rather than settle for less. So if you find yourself retreating from social situations or feeling drained by the masks others wear, Remember this, your craving for authenticity is not a flaw, it's a strength. It's a sign that you're unwilling to compromise your values for the sake of convenience. And in a world that often rewards superficiality, that is a courageous act. Reason 2, you value solitude as a source of strength. There's a quiet power in being alone, and perhaps you've discovered this for yourself. While many see solitude as loneliness, you understand it as something entirely different. A sanctuary, a space to recharge, and a time to think deeply. In a world that never stops talking, solitude is the rarest and most valuable gift you can give yourself. The Stoics were masters of solitude. They believed that true wisdom could only be found within. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, often emphasized the importance of spending time alone. "Retire into yourself as much as you can," he wrote. "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." For you, solitude is not an escape, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to reflect on your life, to connect with your inner self, and to find clarity in the chaos. When you're alone, you're free from the distractions of the outside world. You can hear your own thoughts without the interference of others' opinions. And in that stillness, you often find answers to questions you didn't even know you were asking. But solitude is not something the world encourages. In fact, it often vilifies it. Society glorifies extroversion, constant connectivity, and perpetual engagement. If you choose to step away from this, people might label you as antisocial, introverted, or even selfish. But the truth is, solitude is not about avoiding others. It's about nurturing yourself. There's a profound wisdom in knowing when to withdraw. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." He recognized that the soul, when left undisturbed, is capable of great things. It's where we cultivate our virtues, sharpen our minds, and strengthen our resolve. In solitude, you may find the courage to face your fears, the patience to endure hardship, and the wisdom to make better decisions. It's a time for growth, for healing, and for rediscovering your purpose. And yet, because solitude is so often misunderstood, you might feel a sense of guilt for choosing it. You might feel pressure to conform to the world's expectations, to be more social, more outgoing, more normal. But what if solitude is your superpower? What if it's the very thing that makes you stronger, wiser, and more resilient? The Stoics would argue that it is. They believed that the greatest battles are fought within, and that the strongest warriors are those who know themselves. So, if you find yourself valuing solitude over socializing, know that you're not alone. You're following in the footsteps of some of the greatest thinkers in history. You're choosing depth over distraction, peace over chaos, and self-discovery over superficial connection. And in a world that constantly demands your attention, that is a rare and beautiful thing. Let solitude be your strength. Let it be the space where you grow, where you heal, and where you find your true self. For it is only when we are comfortable being alone that we can truly connect with others in a meaningful way. Reason 3. You are sensitive to emotional energies. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the emotional undercurrent, as though you could sense the hidden tensions, unspoken frustrations, or quiet sadness of those around you? This heightened sensitivity to emotional energy can make being around people feel overwhelming, even exhausting. While others may navigate social settings with ease, you might find yourself absorbing the emotions of those around you, leaving little room for your own peace of mind. This sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a profound awareness, a gift of empathy. You perceive not just the words people say, but the emotions they carry beneath the surface. Yet this gift can become burdensome when you're surrounded by unresolved conflicts, insincerity, or even sheer emotional chaos. The Stoics had a remarkable understanding of this dynamic. Epictetus advised, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." This isn't a dismissal of empathy, but a boundary-setting practice. The Stoics understood that while we can care deeply about others, we must not let their emotions dictate our own inner state. However, setting such boundaries is easier said than done. Emotional sensitivity often means you feel deeply connected to others, which can make it hard to detach. You might find yourself intuitively picking up on someone's anxiety or sadness, even when they try to hide it. And because you care, you may feel a responsibility to help. But when this happens repeatedly, when you're constantly taking on the weight of others' emotions, it's no surprise that you feel drained. Consider this. Just as you wouldn't allow someone to fill your physical space with clutter, you must be cautious about allowing others to clutter your emotional space. Sensitivity is a double-edged sword. It allows you to connect with others on a profound level, but it also exposes you to their emotional storms. And in a world where so many are carrying unspoken pain, this exposure can take a toll. Marcus Aurelius offered a solution to this dilemma. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. For someone as sensitive as you, this advice is crucial. While you can't control the emotional energies around you, you can control how much of them you let in. By practicing mindfulness and establishing emotional boundaries, you can protect your inner peace without shutting yourself off from others. Being sensitive doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're attuned to the subtleties of life that others might miss. But to thrive, you must learn to balance this sensitivity with strength. You must learn to distinguish between what is yours to carry and what is not. And when you do, you'll find that your empathy becomes a source of connection rather than exhaustion. Reason 4. You seek depth over surface connections. In a world preoccupied with small talk and surface-level interactions, your desire for depth can make social settings feel hollow and unfulfilling. You're not interested in exchanging pleasantries or discussing the weather. You want to delve into the essence of what it means to be human. You want conversations that challenge your intellect, stir your soul, and expand your perspective. But finding people who share this thirst for depth can be incredibly rare. The Stoics, too, valued depth over superficiality. Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." He believed that the quality of our relationships shapes the quality of our lives. For you, being around people who lack depth feels like a waste of time and energy. You're not looking for mindless chatter. You're looking for meaning, for insight, for a connection that goes beyond the surface. This can make socializing feel like an uphill battle. Many conversations seem to revolve around trivial matters, fueled by a fear of silence or vulnerability. But for someone like you, silence isn't something to be feared. It's a canvas for introspection. And vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's a doorway to genuine connection. When you're surrounded by people who avoid these things, it's no wonder you feel out of place. Marcus Aurelius captured this sentiment beautifully. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. For you, this means embodying the depth you seek in others. Instead of waiting for people to open up, you lead by example. You ask thought-provoking questions, share your insights, and create space for meaningful dialogue. But when your efforts are met with resistance or indifference, it can be disheartening. Yet consider this: the very fact that you seek depth sets you apart. It's a reflection of your inner richness, your desire to understand life on a profound level. While others may be content with surface connections, you're willing to dig deeper, even if it means fewer relationships or more solitude. And though this path can feel lonely at times, it's also incredibly rewarding. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." For you, depth is your why. It's what gives life meaning, what makes relationships worthwhile, and what fuels your pursuit of wisdom. And while not everyone will share this perspective, those who do will recognize your value instantly. So if you find yourself withdrawing from social situations that feel shallow, know that it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a reflection of your commitment to living authentically and meaningfully. And while the search for depth may be challenging, it's a journey worth taking. For in the end, it's not about how many connections you have, but about the quality of those connections and the impact they have on your soul. Reason 5. You dislike the noise of constant comparison. In social settings, it's almost inevitable. People measure themselves against one another. Conversations often drift towards status, accomplishments, or possessions. Even when unspoken, this undercurrent of comparison lingers in the air, making the space feel tense, competitive, or even insincere. For someone like you, who values self-reflection and inner growth, this noise can be both overwhelming and disheartening. The Stoics warned against this trap of comparison. Epictetus famously said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, the opinions of others should hold no sway over your sense of self. The constant jockeying for approval, recognition, or superiority that often dominates social interactions is a distraction, a futile effort that pulls people away from what truly matters. You might feel drained in social settings because you sense this dynamic at play. Even in seemingly casual interactions, there's often an unspoken need to impress or outshine. Someone subtly mentions their latest promotion, another brags about an exotic vacation. While these things might seem harmless on the surface, they often stem from a deeper insecurity, a need to validate one's worth through external achievements. But for someone who values substance over appearances, this cycle of comparison feels empty. You're not interested in keeping up with others or proving your worth through material means. You understand that true fulfillment comes from within, not from how others perceive you. And because of this, the energy of constant comparison feels foreign, even toxic. Marcus Aurelius offered a powerful antidote to this mindset. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When you step into a room filled with comparison and competition, it's easy to let those energies seep into your own mind. You might start questioning yourself, wondering if you measure up. But the truth is, none of it matters. Your worth is not determined by external metrics, but by the integrity with which you live your life. Consider this. Comparison is often rooted in a scarcity mindset. The belief that there's only so much success, happiness, or recognition to go around. But you know better. You understand that life is not a competition, but a journey, one that's unique to each individual. When you reject the noise of comparison, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters: your own growth, your own peace, your own path. This is why you might prefer solitude, or the company of a select few who share your values. In these spaces, you can be yourself without the pressure to perform or compete. You can focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not because you're trying to outdo anyone, but because it's the path to a meaningful life. So, if you find social settings suffocating, know that it's not a reflection of weakness, it's a sign of clarity. You see the futility of comparison and choose to rise above it. And in doing so, you honor the wisdom of the Stoics, who remind us that true strength comes from within. Reason 6, you resist the chaos of superficial drama. Drama has a way of creeping into even the most mundane social interactions. Petty arguments, gossip, misunderstandings, and rivalries seem to thrive in group settings. For someone like you, who values tranquility and purpose, this chaos feels not only unnecessary but deeply unsettling. The Stoics held tranquility as one of life's greatest virtues. Seneca wrote, "The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not." Drama, with all its noise and distraction, pulls people away from this inner contentment. It stirs the waters of the soul, leaving them murky and unsettled. When you're around people who thrive on superficial drama, it's no surprise that you feel out of place. You're not interested in gossiping about others, getting caught up in pointless arguments, or navigating the emotional turbulence that drama brings. You see it for what it is, a distraction from what truly matters. But the allure of drama is powerful. For many, it offers a sense of excitement, a break from routine, or even a way to feel connected. Yet, these connections are often shallow, built on conflict, rather than understanding. And for someone like you who seeks peace and depth, this kind of connection feels hollow. Marcus Aurelius offered a guiding principle for dealing with such situations. You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. This wisdom is invaluable when faced with drama. By choosing not to engage, you protect your inner peace and maintain your focus on what truly matters. However, resisting drama isn't always easy. You might feel pressure to participate, to take sides, or to justify your decision to step away. People may misunderstand your intentions, labeling you as aloof or disengaged, but remember this: your refusal to engage in drama is not a sign of indifference. It's a commitment to living a life of purpose and clarity. Consider the ripple effects of drama. Like a stone thrown into a still pond, it creates waves that disturb the peace. When you choose not to throw stones or to distance yourself from those who do, you preserve the stillness of your own pond. You create a space where growth, reflection, and joy can flourish. This is why you might avoid large social gatherings or feel uneasy in groups prone to conflict. It's not because you dislike people, it's because you value your peace. You understand that life is too short to waste on trivial disputes or shallow interactions. And by choosing to rise above drama, you align yourself with the Stoic ideal of tranquility. So, if you find yourself retreating from the chaos of drama, know that it's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a reflection of your commitment to living a meaningful life, free from the noise and distraction of conflict. And in a world that often rewards those who stir the pot, your decision to choose peace is a revolutionary act. Reason 7. You find greater meaning in solitude's creative space. The world of social interaction often demands your presence in ways that leave little room for creativity or introspection. When you're surrounded by people, even those you care for deeply, your thoughts are shaped by external stimuli, conversations, expectations, and the need to respond. For someone like you, who values the profound stillness required for creativity and self-discovery, this can feel like a loss of something vital. Creativity thrives in solitude. Whether it's the quiet contemplation of a writer, the focused solitude of a philosopher, or the silent innovation of an artist, history has shown that many great works emerge not in the cacophony of society, but in the sanctuary of solitude. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on how solitude provided clarity, writing, "People seek retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains. You are very much in the habit of yearning for those things." But this is altogether unphilosophical when it is open to you at any time you want to retreat into yourself. When you retreat into yourself, you tap into a wellspring of creativity and insight. In solitude, you're free to explore your thoughts without interruption, to follow ideas wherever they lead, and to immerse yourself in the pursuits that bring you joy and purpose. Whether it's writing, creating art, solving problems, or simply daydreaming, this creative space is sacred to you. But society often undervalues this need for solitude. The world celebrates busyness, collaboration, and constant interaction. If you choose to step away, people might misunderstand your intentions, seeing your preference for solitude as isolation or withdrawal. They might question why you'd prefer time alone over time with others. But what they fail to see is that your solitude isn't an escape, it's a pursuit. It's a pursuit of clarity, inspiration, and meaning. Seneca captured this dynamic beautifully. The mind that is anxious about future events is miserable, for when the problem arises, it can deal with it. But in the meantime, it is distracted, seeking peace in its distractions. For you, distractions are the enemy of creativity. In the company of others, it's all too easy to lose focus, to be pulled into conversations and concerns that have little to do with your passions or purpose. Solitude allows you to cut through this noise and concentrate on what truly matters. This is why social settings might feel stifling. It's not that you dislike people. It's that you value the space where your creativity and inspiration flourish. You understand that the best ideas often emerge in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts. And you're willing to prioritize those moments, even if it means stepping away from the crowd. So if you find yourself retreating to solitude to nurture your creative spirit, know that you're not alone. You're following in the footsteps of countless thinkers, creators, and visionaries who understood the power of being alone. And in doing so, you're honoring your own potential and living a life of purpose and authenticity. Reason 8. You are intolerant of false values. Modern society is awash with false values, an obsession with materialism, superficial success, and fleeting pleasures. For someone who seeks a life of meaning, these values can feel not just unappealing, but deeply alienating. You might find it difficult to be around people who prioritize appearances over substance, possessions over purpose, or instant gratification over long-term fulfillment. The Stoics were keenly aware of this tension. Marcus Aurelius warned against the distractions of false values, writing, "How much time he saves, who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself, to make it just and holy." For the Stoics, the pursuit of virtue was the ultimate goal, and anything that distracted from this pursuit was to be avoided. When you're surrounded by people who chase shallow aspirations, it's easy to feel disconnected. You might hear conversations dominated by talk of material possessions. Who bought the latest gadget? Who has the bigger house? Or who went on the most extravagant vacation? While there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying life's comforts, the excessive focus on these things often masks a deeper emptiness. You, however, are not interested in this race. You understand that true fulfillment comes not from what you own, but from who you are. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. For someone with this perspective, being around people consumed by false values can feel not only exhausting, but deeply disorienting. There's also the issue of integrity. In a world driven by competition and appearances, people often compromise their values to get ahead. They might lie, manipulate, or betray others to achieve their goals. But for someone like you, who values authenticity and virtue, these behaviors are intolerable. They go against everything you stand for, making it difficult to connect with those who engage in them. This intolerance for false values is not a weakness, it's a reflection of your strength. It shows that you're unwilling to compromise your principles for the sake of fitting in or gaining approval. You'd rather walk alone than align yourself with values that feel hollow or destructive. But this path isn't always easy. There will be moments when you question your choices, when the allure of fitting in or chasing societal success feels tempting. In these moments, the wisdom of the Stoics can serve as a guide. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This reminder can help you stay true to your values, even when the world around you seems to be moving in the opposite direction. So, if you find yourself stepping away from social settings that prioritize false values, know that you're not alone. You're choosing to live a life of integrity, one that aligns with your deepest beliefs and aspirations. And while this path may be challenging, it is also profoundly rewarding. For in rejecting false values, you create space for what truly matters: wisdom, purpose, and peace. Final thoughts. Embracing the wisdom of your path. As we bring this exploration to a close, let's reflect on what it truly means to walk the path of solitude, sensitivity, and deep introspection. Each of the reasons we've discussed, your love for authenticity, your sensitivity to emotional energy, your disdain for superficiality, your rejection of false values, paints a picture of someone who is not running away from people, but running towards something greater. A life of purpose, peace, and meaning. The world often celebrates extroversion, constant connection, and unrelenting busyness, but you've chosen a different path, one less traveled and perhaps less understood. This choice isn't about disliking people or rejecting society. It's about prioritizing what truly matters to you. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and attention are finite, and choosing to invest them wisely. The Stoics remind us that life's greatest treasures are not found in the approval of others, but in the integrity of our own hearts. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." For you, living means embracing your inner world, fostering meaningful connections, and rejecting anything that feels hollow or inauthentic. Yes, this journey can be lonely at times. There will be moments when you feel misunderstood, moments when you wonder if the path you've chosen is worth the sacrifice. But it's in these moments that the wisdom of the Stoics can guide you. They remind us that a meaningful life isn't always an easy life. It's a life rooted in virtue, guided by purpose, and lived with clarity. Seneca's words offer a fitting conclusion. Associate with people who are likely to improve you, and welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is a mutual one, for men learn while they teach. Seek out those rare connections that inspire and challenge you. Welcome solitude as a friend, not a foe. And above all, honor the wisdom within you. the voice that tells you it's okay to step back from the noise and embrace the stillness. So wisdom seekers, take heart in your journey. Your path may not always align with societal expectations, but it aligns with your truth. And in a world filled with distractions, that alignment is the ultimate act of courage. Continue to walk this path with strength, clarity, and purpose, knowing that the life you're creating is one of extraordinary depth and meaning.